morning everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our daily editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everyone. Very good morning. Good morning Moviz, Ashmita, Akansha. Can you hear and see me clearly? Good morning Mahita. Good morning Shubham. Can you hear and see me clearly? If you could quickly confirm that. Alright, thank you Dia. Thank you so much. Okay, so ALET's date also is out. You have ample of time after CLAT to prepare for ALET, so nothing to worry. Let's start off with our today's session. And before we start off with that, let me take you through a few things. If you're targeting CLAT 2022, whose date has been delayed, batch 3 for the crash course has been launched. जल्दी से enroll कर लो क्योंकि time आपके पास बहुत कम बचा है इस examination को के लिए prepare करने के लिए. And if you're targeting CLAT 2023, that's going to be held in December. Batch 2 for the comprehensive prep course has been launched, where I'll be teaching English. So look no further. Jaldi se, I don't even look like myself in the picture. So jaldi se enroll kar lo. I shall see you there soon. And last but not the least, ALET की भी date आ गई है. If you're targeting MHCT, ALET, SLAT, BLAT, Jamia, these low entrance examinations, then you should enroll yourself for this batch 2 at the earliest before the batch ends. नहीं तो बहुत सारी classes miss हो जाएंगी और आप late हो जाएंगे. जल्दी से enroll कर लीजिए. आज class में क्या करेंगे? कौन से articles लेके आई हूँ मैं? Okay. Yes, clearly visible and audible. Yes, Ragini, Pallavi, good morning. Alright, so what am I going to do in the class today? I bought 2 articles, but not from the Hindu. I bought one from the Indian Express and the other article is from the Guardian. And to be very honest, both the articles are very easy. I could not find any extremely difficult article. They are easy ones, not a lot of inference. So we'll quickly skim through both of them. These are the articles that I have today. We'll do the vocabulary from these 2 articles in detail. And इसको तो I think check out कर देना चाहिए. ये हमने कभी करना बंद कर दिया कुछ time से. In the end, we'll see the tone of the author. You can write down the summary of each article under my video in the comment section. And in the end, we'll see the Hindu and Indian Express. And we'll see what's important from today's newspaper that we need to read. Okay. नहीं A1 नहीं लेंगे. Of course movies, that's because of the judgment that came yesterday. अब वो apex court में जाएगा तो देखते हैं क्या होता है, because some people agree to the decision and some people think कि कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट ने बहुत casually judgment दे दिया था. So nonetheless, you and I should not be talking about that. Because of the judgment, it should be full. Yes, I agree. Alright, and somebody asked me in one of my classes, ma'am, what do you think? आपको पता है what I think. आप regularly मेरी class में आ रहे हो, आपको पता होगा what my opinion is. Good morning Abhash, good to see you. Alright, so let's start off with our vocabulary today from today's articles. So I'll see if you can make a guess what article, what topic would be discussed in the Guardian article that I've taken today. These words are from the Guardian. I'll try to see if you can guess the topic of the article that I have. The first word is lobbyist. So lobbyist is a person who mediates or influences. A mediator could be a lobbyist. A person who tries to influence the legislation, he could also be a lobbyist. Not illegally, but legally through a proper process. That person is a lobbyist. The next word is bereaved, somebody who is suffering, suffering because a close person has died. So that person, that family could be the bereaved one. Bereaved families because they've lost near and dear ones. Bereaved families. That's the second word. All right, Tanu, good to see. Influence can be lobbyist? Yes, it could be. I don't think so, Ragini. I don't think I will take the hijab row in the editorial. I don't think an editorial can come on that, but I'll have to see that these editorials very carefully. Okay, leverage, yes, lobbyist के लिए हो सकता है leverage, yes, of course. Okay, the next one, frailty. Frailty is very weak. Frail is too weak. Very delicate is frail. So frail health, weak. Frail piece of paper, very delicate. The increasing frailty of old age because you lose strength, that's frailty. No strength, lack of strength is frailty. Bereft for bereaved, yes. Bereft use कर सकते हो synonym. बच्चे सुनो मेरी बात, सुनो. Can we not talk about religion, politics in the class? Please. It's going to be easier for me to handle it then. Good morning, lovely. Delicate is frail. Yes, of course. Gloomy for bereaved. Yes, that's a related word. Fragile. Yes. Fragile for frail is a good word. Alright. Next one is advert. So basically it's a short form of advertisements because the word was used. That's why it's here. Advert is the short form for advertisements. The next one, funneled. So funneling is basically put something in on a track, usually as if it's passing through a funnel. Guiding it, channeling it is funneling it. Some $12.8 billion was funneled through the Marshall Plan. It was channeled through that plan. That channeling is funneled. Okay? All right. Just a minute. Endorse for advert, yes. Feeble, Ankita. That's a very good word for frail. Very good. Cripple is a related word to frailty. It is. It is. The next slide. I hope you've taken a screenshot of this one. Let's move to the next slide, everybody. Affirming is publicly accepting or stating your opinion or clearly expressing something so that people know what you think about. That's affirming. So he affirmed the country's commitment to peace. He made it public. That's affirmation. Or stating emphatically means emphasizing on something. So he emphasized on some fact. That's affirmation. Okay. The next word is remit. We've done this word so many times in the Hindu class. So remit is cancelling any punishment, cancelling any payment that you're supposed to do, any debt you're supposed to pay. If it is cancelled, that's remitting. The government would remit a lot of loans to farmers and other people as well. So the excess of sentence over 12 months was remitted. This excess of punishment was cancelled, called off by the legislation. That was remitting, cancellation of payment or punishment. Affirming, confirming, yes. Showing, yes. Approving, yes. Articulate is a related one. Revoking, yes, that's a synonym to remit. Absolutely. Declaration for affirming, yes. Revoking, repealing, all synonyms to remit. Correct. Good morning, Vivek and Joginder. Questions nahi hai aaj, Aditya? No. इतने फैक्चुअल आर्टिकल से आज बच्चे उस पर क्वेश्चन बनाऊंगी तुम इतनी जल्दी आंसर कर लोगे तब मजा नहीं आता मुझे. Disguising. So disguising is to be something else but to hide that thing and show something else. Concealing the nature or concealing the existence of any feeling, any situation. That concealment is disguising. He made no effort to disguise his contempt. So he was irritated, he was offended, and he did not disguise it, he did not hide it. So that concealment or that hiding of something is disguising. Hiding it behind something else is disguising. Proclaim for affirming, yes Taha, that's correct. Camouflage for disguise is correct. Deceiving also is. Fake, yes, is a synonym. Deceptive, correct. Obscure, correct. Alright, chaliye aage dekhte hain. A blessing in disguise, yes, Pragyansha, we use this a lot of times. So, because it's a difficult situation, it could be a blessing in disguise because the blessing is not visible. What is visible is the problematic situation. Acha, you think it's an economic article? No, it isn't. It is not. Both the articles are not economic. Okay, jalopy is a car which is in a very bad condition. Dilapidated is in a very ruined condition. Old car. So his father got worried about him. हम बहुत सारे लोगों के घर में ना एक पुरानी मारुति 800 in a dilapidated condition. उससे भी पुरानी ambassador. किस किस के घर में? How many of you have that still at your home? You know, dilapidated condition. His father got worried about him driving that old jalopy. It wasn't safe. Okay, delusion for disguising, yes. Overshadow bhi ho sakta hai. Correct. Good morning, Nikita. Eclipse is disguising. Very good, it is. Mirage can also be one. It is not COVID based. It is not COVID based. I have one. I did not sell it off. I have one. A Maruti 800 in a dilapidated state. A WagonR. हाँ, तुम लोगों के लिए तो WagonR तुम्हारे एज ग्रुप के लिए भी dilapidated हो सकती है. When I was a child, WagonR was the premium car. Okay, diminutive is very, very small, tiny, meager. A diminutive figure dressed in black, tiny figure. Okay, extremely small is diminutive. No, Taha, nobody could guess the articles. No, that is not the article. No, it's not Ukraine crisis. It is not. Okay, the last one is insularity. Insularity, okay, हिंदी का एक वर्ड है इसके लिए, आपने सुना होगा, those who know हिंदी, कूप मंडूक, सुना है? कुएं का मेंढक, उसको वही दुनिया पता है, कुएं की दुनिया, है ना? So in English, so if there's a frog who lives in a well, he would know only the world about the well. He doesn't know what happens outside. So he thinks, this is my world, this is it. He's never come out of the well ever. That is what insularity is. So thinking this is the world and this is all I know and I don't know anything about anybody else. And neither am I interested in knowing about them. That's insularity. Ignominious, yes, Sabash, very good. Narrow-minded, limited. Minuscule for diminutive, yes. Correct. All right. So we are done. He lives in solitude, yes. Living in your own bubble, that's correct. So we're done with the slide number 2. Jaldi se screenshot le lo sab log. Then let's start with the articles. Nobody could actually guess the articles today. I'm surprised. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with the Guardian article. Gambling industry. How many types of gamblings have you seen legally happening? Illegally, I'm sure we've heard of the gambling on or betting on cricket, yes. But then there are some sort of gamblings that are legal. That could be the casinos that you see where gamblings happen, yes. And then you could see some gambling happening on horse races and other kind of matches as well. And then since this article is not written in India, it talks about other kinds of legal gambling that's permissible. For example, Las Vegas, you see it's full of gambling studios and casinos, right? So this article talks about that. And then he says the intervention is overdue right now. That we need to intervene, the government needs to intervene because this gambling industry is actually going out of control. Let's understand this article in detail. Now, rummy, yes. Shares, yes Anushka, how could I forget that? Shares, share market, absolutely. Stock market, yes. Offshore casinos in Goa. And then, can you name one state where casinos are permissible in our country on land? Can you name a state? Let me see if you know that GK. I did not study that as a GK part. I studied that as a part of my traveling. Let me see if you know that. Rummy, Dream 11, of course, yes. Horse races, yes. In elections too. Correct. Poker. Which state am I referring to? Goa? No, it's not permissible on land. In Goa, it's not permissible on land. It's only permissible on water. It's Sikkim. Purva, you're right. It's Sikkim. It's Sikkim. Goa, it's only on... and then Maharashtra, yes. Goa only on water. Not permissible on land. The enormously profitable gambling industry has been on notice for some time. People have been noticing it. It is an enormous industry amid mounting evidence of the severe problems that its products can cause. Of course, many demerits with hundreds of gambling-linked suicides every year. Many suicides because they are so much in debt that they are unable to handle that. The government has launched a review of the current law in 2020. So, a white paper tabling its proposals for changes expected soon. What is this white paper? A white paper tabling its proposals for changes expected soon. What is this white paper? What is this white paper? Nobody? ये बैंगलोर में कौन सा casino है? Sagnik, I've never heard of that. Yes, it's a bill, a legislation. Absolutely. Yes, a legislation. Industry lobbyists have spent the intervening period doing all that they can do to soften the expected blows to their business model, while campaigners, including bereaved families, have argued for a regulatory framework that takes human frailty into account. Now see, when betting is legalized, the major reason for legalizing betting is the revenue that comes from it. But then there are obviously the demerits of it. The bereaved families can tell you what the demerits are. So obviously, the people who benefit from the industry of gambling would want the industry to continue, and then the government as well, because the government earns a lot of revenue through the money that you earn. Flat 30% certainly has to be paid, even more depending upon the country. But then the bereaved families, they want a proper framework so that the human frailty isn't missed, that humans are weak and they can fall easily prey to it. Is article can make stories surrounding आप लोगों को. Very personal to my heart, but it will shake your minds. Evidence suggests that it is the latter who have the public's support. Latter, the bereaved families. Public support to inko hi karegi. It doesn't support the lobbyists who want to gain money from this industry. With one survey showing that 3/4 of adults favor restriction on gambling. So everybody wants there should be restrictions on gambling and its advertisements as well. A report from the Social Market Foundation co-authored by Should Stiffen Reformers Resolve? Another suggestion. It makes the case for a new board funded by statutory industry levy to oversee national efforts to reduce gambling related harm. Again, people are working to reduce that harm this gambling industry causes. There are legislations that are being in the pipeline. Currently, voluntary contributions from gambling business, which between them are responsible for around 11 billion for annual losses by gamblers are funneled through a charity, GamblingAware. But this activity is poorly integrated with other services and suffers from a lack of research and evaluation. So they tried to funnel this amount of money, that was the losses faced by the gamblers, by putting it into charity. But the whole process is suffering. It's not streamlined. There's corruption. There's no research. There's no evaluation. So this funneling money through charity, that is GamblingAware, is actually suffering right now. क्या हो गया? Okay. Last month, the NHS severed links with the GamblingAware, citing concerns about the charity's independence. Again, corruption, you can see here, while affirming its commitment to the NHS addiction services. So this charity that works on the favor of the people who are addicted to gambling and to save them, the NHS has broken its link to this charity and they think it's not working efficiently. Demand for these rose sharply last year. The demand for de-addiction on gambling, with 16.2% increase in the number of people seeking help, because more and more people are getting aware and they are addicted to gambling and they want help. Thus, they are trying to find a solace. Company contributions should be in the proportion to the harm that their activities cause, and there is work to be done in how exactly the levy would work. What harm can it cause? What harm can gambling cause actually? One, people get addicted to it. They don't know how much money, because ये ना ऐसा होता है कि चलो एक और गेम खेलूंगा और जितना भी लॉस हुआ है ना वो रिकवर कर लूंगा, फिर एक और गेम खेलूंगा, फिर लॉस रिकवर कर लूंगा. So it's a loop, and there's a thrill that comes once people start gambling. To get that thrill and to recover the money that has been lost, people get into the loop and they sell the entire household, they sell everything that they have, they be on roads. Financial and mental, absolutely. Financial and mental, both kind of losses, certainly. So, but the argument is that it should be compulsory, not voluntary, is correct. Compulsory what? Compulsory de-addiction program for people who indulge into gambling. And not a voluntary program कि मैं अपने मन से जाऊंगा और de-addiction program attend करूंगा. It should be a compulsory one and not a voluntary one. In fact, this should have happened years ago. The remit of addiction work must also be broadened to encompass prevention. It is not enough to offer support to those individuals who are most severely harmed. उनको तो करना ही है, but those people who are in the beginning stage, you need to control them so that they don't reach that stage of severity. The government estimates that while the vast majority of England's 24.5 million gamblers do not have a problem, only 0.5% have a problem, yet this vast population needs to be addressed so that later on they don't increase this number of people who have a problem. When will I start bringing the questions? Guys, देखो, and specifically Movies, I've already told you guys, I am stuck with some very important work that I'm doing only for you guys. If I start making questions, the other work would suffer. You have to give me 10 days where I have to wind up the work that should be ready for you, and only then I can start making questions. Making questions is not a cakewalk. Imagine every day I get up and make a mock test for you or a sectional test for you. It's a very cumbersome task. It takes time. Please don't insult me by asking that again and again. I feel bad. Okay? I will do it as soon as I'm free from the work. Let's look at the next one. A testing regime for new products and a cap on the amount that can be staked online. Yes. So when you go to casinos, there's a cap. आप एक limit तक ही पैसा लगा सकते हो. That will obviously restrict a person from putting in a lot of money, right? And then it will restrict the business's ability to manipulate the customers into taking unhealthy risk. So the government has to put that cap. There is plentiful evidence, including in a new book by the Guardian's Rob Davis, that companies have grown more sophisticated in their efforts to maximize profit. एक gambling industry का काम देखो, वो इसीलिए function कर रही है क्योंकि उसको profit बनाना है ना? So profit बनाने के लिए it would do anything, not directly asking you to put money, but the sophisticated one, right? So between 2020 and 2021, the firms handed over this amount of wages and freebies to the MP. Since 2020, a former Labour MP has been, okay, data है. आगे देखिए कुछ important पढ़ते हैं इसमें. Yes, inevitably such wealth brings power, and by contrast there can be few people more desperately powerless than the people, often young men, who have gambled too much and found themselves in debt. So the gambling industry who earns money, it brings them power, and the people who put money and lose, it makes them powerless, obsessed and afraid and full of debt. It is the government's duty to protect both these adults and children who have been placed at risk by too much exposure to gambling. So the government also wants, rather the author urges the government to ban the advertisements, to ban the exposure to gambling, since the advent of ubiquitous online and sports advertising and smartphone access to 24/7 betting apps. So when this 24/7 access, everybody has smartphone. So putting children at risk can be easy. MPs must call time on the claim that gambling is a harmful fun. What's the tone of the author here? What's the tone, everyone? The next article is very close to my heart. What's the tone? Afraid of losing more money or not being able to retrieve the money? Diya. There's a constant pressure on their head. I had a old colleague, and he taught me critical reasoning, and so I can call him my guru for critical reasoning. We lost him to gambling. Somebody who is so logical with his reasoning, somebody who's so logical with his bend of mind, we lost him to gambling. So could you understand the kind of impact it can have? Make sure you're away from it. It's absolutely suggestive and alarming. Anushka, I love both the tones you've chosen. It is alarming and suggestive. All right. So let's look at the next article. Let's start off in a very positive way. गुलशन, तुम्हारी पिटाई होगी आज. केडी सर को स्क्रीनशॉट भेजती हूँ मैं. An Argentine couple lived on the road, traveling for 22 years. Imagine the life they've had. Meanwhile, the world changed and hopefully didn't. ये line समझा दो मुझे. Who is going to explain this line to me? Explain this line to me. Meanwhile, the world changed. This class starts at 10 every morning, Monday to Friday. But not this Friday because we have Holi on Friday. I'm sure you would not come even if I come. Would you come on Friday? Should I take a class Friday morning? Pooja, it's critical, but then more than critical, it's highly alarming. Hopefully didn't. The world changed because of COVID, Belinda, I got that. But then hopefully didn't. What does that mean? Yes, so the things got better, but hopefully the good things didn't change for bad. That's what they're hoping. Yes, 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 absolutely, Abhash. Behavior, relation, environment, absolutely, Belinda, absolutely correct. All right, so let's quickly skim through this article. I found a couple of lines so motivating here. So when Herman and Zapp set out in 1928, Jalopy, the car, they named the car. And then, do you know, by the way, we have a person in our country who converted his old car into a home, and he's been traveling for the last 10 years throughout the country in the same car without a permanent job, living at the mercy of other people. There were no smartphones when they started off. The internet was in its infancy and access was poor. A place of knowledge and hope rather than disinformation and division. Look at this line. The internet was a place of knowledge. हम साइबर कैफे जाते थे गूगल करके अपनी वो निकालने के लिए, मार्कशीट निकालने के लिए. It was a place of knowledge. To make our projects, we used to go to cyber cafe. And it was not a place for disinformation and division. And no hate speech. The Twin Tower stood tall in New York, which isn't there now. And Russia was only a diminutive shell overshadowed by its Soviet past. आज देखो क्या हो गया इन सब चीजों का. इंटरनेट का क्या हो गया है. What has happened to the Twin Towers? What has happened to Russia? Since 2000, the Zapps have traveled over 102 countries across 5 continents. For most of their trip, they depended on the kindness of strangers. Yes, like a caravan. Yes. Yes. Okay, so the couple estimates that they have been hosted by over 2,000 families for the rest of the time they lived out of the car, that is, in the car. The Zapps' home is the road. They have had 4 children in different countries. The family grew, and in an era of strict visa regimes and rising insularity, they managed to treat borders as what they truly are. Arbitrary and artificial lines on the map. Almost all. तुम एक बार पाकिस्तान जाके आ जाओ, तुमको यूएस का वीजा नहीं मिलेगा. Most likely. ठीक है. So now that the visa regimes are so strict, they have managed to travel so many countries seamlessly because they treat the borders merely as lines, and that's what they have seen, which actually the borders are. They're merely artificial lines on maps. As the family expanded, so did the car. It was repurposed and expanded to make a room for the growing family. The trunk carried kitchen supplies, the engine doubled up as a stove and grill, and then there are the trials and tribulations between them, and the family has suffered Ebola, dengue, malaria, and been stranded during the pandemic. So they've had the good times and the bad. Bad could be suffering from these, being stranded somewhere in middle of nowhere amid the pandemic. They had their own suffering. When the couple left their home to become nomads, they had been married 6 years, had well-paying jobs and a home. Who would do that? Who would leave that? They did. The giving up of the middle-class paradise, though, was clearly worth their while. So they decided to give up their paradise, this middle-class paradise, and they completely realized that it is worth it leaving that paradise behind. ऐसा नहीं लग रहा हम into the wild पढ़ने जा रहे हैं. Have you seen that? Abhash, please read what I'm trying to explain. So, once your examination is done, if you haven't watched the movie, do it, watch Into the Wild. Already, Herman is now 53, is contemplating sailing around the world. Now, the roads are done. They're going to start sailing around the world. For all that has changed in the 22 years, poor countries have become middle-income ones. Wars are back. Tensions are on high seas. All the negatives. Some things hopefully haven't. So, some things hopefully haven't is the good things. They should continue. On their second trip around the world too, Zapps will hopefully find hospitality like they found from the 2,000 families who hosted them. Hopefully that doesn't change. So, tone of the author. Into the wild. Tone of the author. Did you like the session right away? No, I can't see that. Do it right now. And tell me the tone of the author before I share today's Hindu and Indian Express in the background. Tone of the author, everyone. Hindu in the background. Here it is. I'll make sure it's visible today too. Oof. Here it is. Analytical. No. Narrative. Yes. Narrative. No, it's not humorous. No. आज इसलिए जल्दी जा रही हूँ बच्चे बिकॉज बहुत ईजी हैं आर्टिकल्स, बहुत ईजी हैं. ठीक है. It's narrative. Yes, I would agree that's narrative. Now let's look at the Hindu and Indian Express in the background, everyone. Skim through it. Skim through it. Skim through it. Skim. Nothing extremely important. Leave. ये अच्छा है, इसको पढ़ लेना. Nothing else. Let's look at the text and context. I've already read today's newspaper. I don't think something's really important here. Pooja, yes, it was very tough. Chalega Pragyansha, actually. No, I don't think that's necessary. Accident हो गया भाई हमसे, सब हमारे पीछे पड़ गए. Skim. Indian Express. Why special situation funds are necessary? Yes, read that. The long shadow of 2020 Delhi riots. Skim. The creation of winning electoral formula. No. Prague, then Kiev now. Skim. The problem with the hijab ruling. Skim. India's first postal cafe in Kolkata was the young. It's, you know, it's breath of fresh air. Read this. EPFO's interest rate, leave. Karnataka High Court hijab order, skim. That's all. That's all from today's newspaper, my children. Will I have a class on Saturday? No. Tanu, I'll have to figure it out. I'll do a meeting about it today. I'll let you know tomorrow, okay? Okay, I'll let you know about, yes, Purva, we'll do it tomorrow. Okay, if I have a class on Holi or not, I'll let you know. But कल Aeon या Guardian ही होगा for sure. कल इन papers में से article नहीं लिया जाएगा. Both are very easy. The chocolate route. Okay, let me see that. I'll see you at 12:30 everyone on the BBA platform. Have a very good day. God bless you.